Mystery deepens after Lindsey Graham's sudden death, as questions continue to swirl over what really happened. Fresh speculation gathers pace after Graham's shocking demise, with some asking whether America's biggest rivals had a hidden role. Was Russia involved in Lindsey Graham's sudden death, or are those explosive allegations running far ahead of the facts? Lindsey Graham's sudden passing was announced just 2 days after his high-profile visit to Ukraine, raising even more questions. Conspiracy theories are rapidly swirling after the sudden death of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, with speculation spreading across political circles and social media. Russia has found itself at the center of the storm, as some voices have alleged a possible Kremlin role in Graham's sudden death. Russian opposition leader Igor Eidman has alleged that Kremlin-linked operatives may have been responsible for killing Lindsey Graham. Speaking to Nexta, the Russian opposition figure outlined why he believes Lindsey Graham may have been firmly on Moscow's radar. Argument 1. Graham was one of the strongest American supporters of Ukraine throughout Russia's full-scale invasion. Graham consistently backed tougher sanctions aimed directly at Russia's economy and political leadership. Graham repeatedly pushed for increased U.S. military and financial assistance to Kyiv throughout the conflict. Graham was widely viewed as an influential voice shaping Donald Trump's evolving policy toward Russia. Argument 2. Graham may have been compromised during his recent visit to Ukraine, according to the Unverified allegations. He may have been exposed to a slow-acting toxic substance during that visit, the claims further suggest. The allegations also point to the reported use of Russian agent networks operating inside Ukraine. Just 2 days before his sudden death, Graham traveled to Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, where he met President Volodymyr Zelensky. On July 10th, the Trump ally sharply criticized Russia and said the White House would support the latest sanctions bill.
I'm pleased to announce, as of about 30 minutes ago, we've reached agreement with the White House on a version of the Russian sanctions bill that they will support. It means it's going to become law. So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools to President Trump to help end this war. I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive. Great news for Ukraine that we're going to empower the Ukrainian people to make the Patriot, under license from the United States, to protect the skies, which will give tools available to Ukraine they don't have today. A major decision by President Trump that I think over time will pay great dividends. What can we do immediately? It's going to take a while. What can we do immediately? We can, in my view, pass legislation that would require people propping up Putin to have something new to think about. I think President Trump likes a winner, and he sees Ukraine in the camp of being a winner. But you're not going to win this war on the battlefield. But Ukraine is really putting a lot of pressure on Russia. My hope is to end this war through diplomacy. And the more leverage we have over Putin, the better. And so I think what President Trump has seen in Ukraine has impressed him. And we now have a moment in time, if we can increase the lethality of Ukraine by sharing technology with them, and also put the world on notice, help President Trump end the war, stop buying cheap Russian oil and gas, then that's a winning combination.
MAGA activist Laura Loomer also fueled speculation by publicly raising questions surrounding Lindsey Graham's sudden death. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump paid tribute to Senator Lindsey Graham while admitting he was shocked by the sudden loss. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, a close ally of U.S. President Donald Trump, has died at the age of 71. His office released a statement saying he died on Saturday evening following a brief and sudden illness. Graham, a prominent South Carolina politician and close ally of Donald Trump, has long been one of the most influential voices in U.S. politics. He had recently returned from Kyiv, where he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. Amid the speculation, Laura Loomer made unverified claims about Graham's reported death and raised questions about possible foreign involvement. The right-wing activist also called for an investigation, pointing to recent Iranian threats against Graham. For now, the situation remains clouded by uncertainty, and the most responsible approach is to rely only on confirmed reporting. Laura Loomer speculated that Russia or Iran may have been involved in Graham's reported death, but she offered no evidence to support that claim. She also revived an old Russia poisoning theory after the reported news spread, adding another layer of speculation to the story. Loomer linked Graham's recent Ukraine visit to his reported death, even though no proof has been presented to connect the two events. She further suggested that Graham's brief and sudden illness leaves unanswered questions, though those questions remain entirely unverified. Loomer also raised the possibility of an assassination, while pointing to recent IRGC threats as part of her argument. Separate reports said Lindsey Graham experienced chest pain at his Washington, D.C. home after returning from Ukraine. Graham had visited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv on Friday, July 10th, during a closely watched diplomatic trip. Zelensky later shared several photos with Graham on X and thanked him in the caption for the meeting.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.